Distilled Mead or Honey Shine or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, this stuff is 7 months old. I've got the oak-aged version versus the white version. Let's get stuck in. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm Jesse and this is Still It, and these are two versions of exactly the same distilled mead. So they came off the still at exactly the same time. It's the same batch. It was just split afterwards, and some of it has been aging on oak for 7 months, and some of it has not. It's been sitting here white. So today I thought would be a wonderful time to taste the two next to each other and see what's happened in that amount of time. Honestly, guys, I kind of pushed this stuff to the back of the shelf, and I wouldn't say I forgot about it, but it was just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Well, I thought we would change that and give it a good old tasting, because honestly, I've got no idea what's happened with these two. Now, when this stuff came off the still, I was surprised. In fact, I was almost blown away with the amount of straight up honey flavor that was coming through from distillation. I thought a lot of that was going to get stripped out through the process of distilling it. It's lucky I tried it, and in some ways I should have known better because I had one sample of distilled mead before I made my own. But it's going to be very interesting to see whether that honey flavor has, well, just what the hell it's done in 7 months. That is pretty similar to what I remember it being, but I remember it being slightly more floral and slightly more vibrant and kind of floral and fruity flavors coming through in the honey. I remember there being a little bit more of that in it when it was new. We'll come back to that. I haven't really even tasted these properly yet, and I haven't really given you guys a rundown on what I'm getting in each of them. But I have a conclusion about what you should do with Honey Shine already. If you are going to keep it white, I would suggest maybe waiting for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, like gin, and then I think that's the sweet point to drink it. It's given enough time to settle down and calm down off the still. It's given it enough time to kind of marry and chill just a little bit. But the fresh, fruity, vibrant flavors that I remember coming through on this are kind of gone now. So my stance after this, and I'm kicking myself a little bit for not better tasting this and documenting it over time, is that the white stuff is going to probably peak at about a month. But I'm guessing if you can get it into an airtight bottle quicker, it's probably going to hold those fresh, vibrant flavors for longer. We'll talk about the whiskey in a second because that's really interesting. But first, let me give you a proper rundown on what this actually tastes like, shall I? So the nose now is more like kind of what a stereotypical honey flavor is. And what I mean by that is I just grew up eating the whipped clover honey, and it didn't really taste like much. It just tastes like what I thought honey was. You know, it's just the average crappy clover honey from the supermarket. It's kind of yum on white toast with butter or whatever, but you know, there's not a lot to it. And since then, I have started to discover a very, very tiny portion, but I've really enjoyed a small portion of the honey world where, you know, you're just able to find just mind-blowing flavors buried in honey. So we've lost a lot of that extra dimension from the really nice honey that I was given. And don't get me wrong, it still smells very much like honey. It's very strongly honey. It's just the nuances kind of faded from it a bit. The taste is very similar, but it also has a slight waxiness to it. Honeycomb, like not the bullshit candy, but the actual, you know, if you eat fresh honey with the comb in it, it tastes a little bit like that as well, which is really cool. It's amazing that that's pulled out of the honey, even though I didn't really taste that in the honey itself. I mean, maybe the honey was kind of stratified in the bucket and it tasted different, whatever. I don't know. All I know is it's in this. Now, the spirit itself has smoothed out significantly from what I remember it being as well. This is very, very easy drinking, the white stuff. And when it was brand new, it had a slight sort of hook to it. Nothing crazy. You know, it's pretty much what you would expect in terms of that aged spirit versus this aged spirit, even without oak, in my experience, especially having a bit of headroom. This has probably lost a fair amount to Angel's Share. So it went in here at 54%. And my guess is like maybe 48%, something around that. You know what? Should we just test it? Let's just test it and find out for sure. Wow. Okay, so it's saying 51%. There you go. I guess it's smoothed out even more than I anticipated, rather than just losing ABV to Angel's Share. You know what, guys? I have this freshly emptied bottle, and I'm thinking I should just bottle it right now. Sorry, I'm not looking up. I do not want to take my eyes off this because I don't know where my funnel is. But if I do not bottle it now, it will sit on the shelf for another Lord knows how long and slowly fade away into obscurity, and it'll be too low proof and it'll be horrible. And I do not think it's going to get any better. How I'm going to drink it, honestly, I don't know exactly. I don't know. I'm guessing it'll be good in one of those kind of cocktails where it's basically just all booze, you know, like a old-fashioned or a martini. I don't know cocktails, guys. What is the proper name for cocktails that are, you know, straight booze? The only thing that dilutes it down is the ice when you shake it. Bam! There we go. It turned out about as good as I could have expected, honestly, for getting it that long. Why don't I open this up again? This is the third video I've recorded in a row, and all three of them involved drinking. So, sorry if I'm not quite with it, guys. Anyway, the oak-aged version. Man, that's interesting. That is so interesting. This, because it's sat longer and the fruit more effervescent, sort of lively flavors have dissipated, has gotten deeper and darker and more syrupy. I mean, not molasses, not golden syrup, more maple syrup, both in the weight that it sits on your mouth and in some ways the flavors too, actually. This, on the other hand, has almost gone the opposite way. The acidity has changed. It has gotten slightly more acidic, not in a bad way, not in a vinegary way, nothing like that. Like, don't think anything bad at all. It's lifted it. It's made it brighter. It has turned it into almost like a lowland, maybe Speyside sort of style scotch. It's sitting in that sort of drinkability. It's light. It's fruit, obviously like really fruity and sweet, but it's got layers of sweetness. So we have the honey sweetness that's in this, but then there's that really interesting glazed pastry Danish kind of sweetness that pops up in a lot of the more pretty whiskies. And layering those on top of each other with that change in acidity brightens it and lifts it. So I don't remember, honestly, what oak I put in here. And I'll be honest with you right now, I'm not going to pull it up on my phone. But I'm sure one of you internet sleuths can either call me out or confirm that this to me tastes like second use oak, for sure. This very much tastes like a Scotch kind of profile. So, inevitably, we get to the point where I have to decide whether or not to let this go for a little while. Do I let it go and hope that it's going to improve even more? Or do I just bottle it now and not cut my losses, but guarantee the gains, I guess you would call it. Oh man, that's a tricky one. I taste nothing in this that is heading towards over-oaked or over-aged. The fact that this is still sitting at 51% gives me hope that it's not heading south anytime soon, although we are coming into summer here. My feelings are that there are no negatives at all showing up yet. I've got no idea what this can do as it sits longer. It is the oldest honey shine, oaked honey shine I've ever tasted, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I feel like we can get away with a little bit longer, and I feel like for science, I should do so. So, and this is a huge thank you to the Patreons. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Man, I am actually slurring. I apologize. But I don't apologize for my love of the awesome Patreons. I appreciate you guys keeping my head in the game, so thank you so much for that, guys. I really do appreciate it. So, I am going to desperately ask, who of you out there have made a honey shine that you have oak aged? And if you did oak age it, did it start tasting something similar to this? And did you let it go longer than this, or to a point where things started changing significantly or declining significantly? I'm thinking that I'm going to monitor this fairly closely over summer. Probably once a month, definitely. I'll be making sure I have a wee taste of it. And if anything interesting, specifically interesting happens, or I decide to bottle it, I'll put another video out letting you guys know exactly what happened. So, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, guys. That would help me out a whole lot. If you have something interesting to say, or please, if you've got some, foresight on what might happen to this, comment section. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Keep on chasing the craft. See ya.